gee, it's hard to think. This is the first thing that's come into my head, so I think about it. I had an experience on the road the other day, just walking my dog, and I was talking with a neighbour who was doing some burning off, and I had my dogs with me, and his wife came out of the house, you know, onto the road, and it startled my dog and it startled me, but the dog got, with a startled response, started barking at her. And
okay, hang on, stop and start tapping on the side of your hand, please.
Yep.
So just go back to the beginning. So you're talking to a neighbour?
I was talking to a neighbour on the road, on our road, country road.
Right. And then something happened to startle you and the dog.
That's right. His wife came out of their property behind us.
In the car or just walking?
No, just on foot. On foot.
But behind you?
Yes, behind us. Sort of. I was looking at him and she was coming from the opposite direction.
So how did she startle you? Did you hear her or see her?
I saw her after the dog barked. The dog saw her first.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So when you remember that part, you're talking to the neighbour.
Yep.
On the road.
Yep.
You had the dog.
Yep.
And then the dog suddenly barked.
Yep.
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 Where do you remember the sound of the dog barking?
Yep. And the dog leapt forward, pulling me with her.
Okay, at the same time. So barking
at the same time.
and pulling
and me.
Pulling you to the left, to the front,
Yeah,
left to the front.
To the left, towards the left front where she was coming from, sort of in her direction.
All right. So when that happens suddenly, when the dog, here you are just talking to the neighbour on the road, nice and calm, and then suddenly the dog barks and leaps, pulling you forward and to the left.
Yep.
How did that make you feel?
Shocked, like literally physically shocked, because I almost hit the ground.
Okay, so that shock,
yep.
Where do you feel it in your body?
The left arm and shoulder and chest.
Okay, and what is it out of 10?
Oh, that's interesting. I think it might be a 7.
Mm-hmm. All right, so repeat after me. Even though I remember feeling the shock in my left arm, shoulder and chest.
Even though I remember feeling the shock in my left arm, shoulder and chest.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
When my dog suddenly barked and pulled me forward and to the left.
When my dog barked and suddenly pulled me forward to the left.
And I almost fell over. I accept myself and how I feel. Even though I was just talking to the neighbour. Then all of a sudden I was pulled left and forward. When the dog barked and pulled me. And I feel shock in my chest, shoulder and arm, left arm.
Feel shock in my chest, shoulder, left shoulder and arm.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
I accept myself. And how I feel. Even though I've got this 7 out of 10 shock. In my left shoulder, left arm and chest.
My left shoulder, my left arm and chest.
When the dog suddenly barked and pulled me left and forward.
When the dog barked and suddenly pulled me left and forward.
And I almost fell over.
I
accept myself and how I feel.
I
was shocked.
I was
just standing there talking to the neighbour. When all of a sudden the dog barked and pulled me forward and to the left. I felt shock in my left arm, shoulder and chest. That's 7 out of 10 shock. I almost fell over. The dog suddenly barked out of nowhere. And pulled me to the left and the front. It was such a shock. That shock in my left shoulder, arm and chest.
That shock in my left arm, shoulder and chest.
I heard the dog bark and it pulled me.
I heard the dog bark and it pulled me.
Pulled me so hard I nearly fell over.
Pulled me so hard I nearly fell over.
I almost hit the ground.
I almost hit the ground.
9 gamut. So I want you to tune into that shock and that pulling sensation. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Look hard down to the left. Look hard down to the right. Now circle your eyes slowly in one direction. And circle your eyes slowly in the other direction. Keeping your head still. That dog barking and pulling you. Good. Hum happy birthday. Count fast to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hum happy birthday. That dog barked.
That dog barked.
And nearly pulled me over.
And nearly pulled me over.
All that shock in my left shoulder, arm and chest.
All that shock in my left arm, shoulder and chest.
That 7 out of 10 shock.
That 7 out of 10 shock.
I was just talking to the neighbour.
I was just talking to the neighbour.
Then suddenly the dog barked and nearly pulled me over.
Then suddenly the dog barked and nearly pulled me over.
That 7 out of 10 shock in my left shoulder, arm and chest.
That 7 out of 10 shock in my left arm, shoulder and chest.
I almost fell over.
I almost fell over.
It really shocked me.
It really shocked me.
I heard him bark.
I heard her bark.
I heard her bark, then she nearly pulled me over.
Then she nearly pulled me over.
That shock in my left shoulder, arm and chest.
That shock in my left shoulder, arm and chest.
Processing and releasing all that shock.
Processing and releasing all of that shock.
Okay, so take a deep breath. Just tell me the story of that and just notice what you're feeling in your body now.
Tell you the whole story?
Just that part of standing there talking to the neighbour.
Standing there talking to... You want me to say it out loud, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I was standing there talking to the neighbour and his wife came out and it startled my dog. The dog barked and leapt forward. It pulled me forward and I nearly fell over.
Mm-hmm. So when you say that, see how she's saying it with a much more calm voice?
Yeah.
When you say that, and notice when we were tapping, she was really releasing it on the second round and moving the shoulder. So how do you feel now when you say that?
It's like it was a distant thing. It was like matter of fact.
Yeah, it's just a
story. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's a story, just a story.
Yeah, so it's already gone basically.
Yeah.
So can you see, so I just wanted that as a quick demonstration. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So you can see just in that one, no, what am I doing? Go back to, yeah. You can see that just in that one full basic round where we did the body, the fingers, the 9 gamut, the body and the fingers, that it really came right down. And we only did that one aspect of the memory, but it was just a demonstration to show you the exact words that she was saying. She changed the words a bit when she retold the story. It leapt forward, which you didn't say the first time, but I was careful to use the same words like I nearly fell over. And it wasn't so much seeing the neighbour coming out, it was because I said, how did you first feel that? It was the dog barked and pulled me, so that's what we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any questions about that? Just using exact words. So if we had have gone on and there was more to that story and had come down to a 3 or 4, I would have just done just the basic recipe. So even though it's now 3 out of 10, and I just feel shock in my chest, I accept myself and how I feel, and I would have 3 times, and then I would have gone through the body points and finished here and then said, what's there for you now? So basically what I want you to do is practice the full basic recipe. So the body points, the finger points, the 9 gamut, the body points, the finger points, using exact words. Then stop and ask what's there for you now, and then just do the body points, the basic recipe, to hear, and then stop and ask again. But at the same time, when you're using exact words, you can ask for specifics. Like I said, how did you know that the neighbour had come out? How did you feel that shock? The dog barked and pulled me to the left and forward. So you see how specifically I got that information from her. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we've got lots of time, and this is, so it says the exercise is in 3s again, I think.
Judy, can I just ask you, can you stop the recording actually?
Yes, I will. Exact words split into 3s, yes. Recording